This is DMP Speaks coming to you. I am a board certified Christian counselor. I'm also a life coach. I am a family restoration specialist. I help build, rebuild, and grow your family. Maybe you're having some communication problems. Maybe you guys are just yelling and screaming and you guys are just not getting along. And if you want access to me for your 30-minute consultation call, follow me on all my social media platforms. TikTok, Facebook at DMP Speaks. And if you go to YouTube and Instagram, it's at I am DMP Speaks. Download Fire 716 and click the link. That's YouTube, that's Instagram, that's TikTok at DMP Speaks. Now let's get into this conversation. Let's go. Making a little adjustments, everybody. There we go. Because I want y'all to be able to hear what I'm saying. So with that, welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? On my social media platforms, how's everybody doing? I hope that you are feeling well. If you don't know who I am, my name is David M. Pinkston, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I'm an empowerment speaker. I'm a board certified Christian counselor, but I'm a family restoration specialist, which means I come to rebuild and grow your family dynamic. And I do these live shows every Saturday at the station at Fire 716, every Saturday at 2 p.m. So today's topic is, and I'm going to say it verbatim, remove the poison from their mouths. And you're going to be like, what? You've come up with some weird topic names, but this is another one. But it's exactly what I said. Remove the poison from their mouths. Now, where am I going with this? And I need you guys to share this, and I need you to let people know that Speak Out Loud radio show is on, and I need you to share this on your social media platforms. Again, the topic is remove the poison from their mouths. Now, I have a little bit of it's a quote, but it's a different kind of quote. It's kind of broken down. But I want to give you this because I really believe this is going to help you when it comes to your children saying certain things, when it comes to their self-esteem and their confidence and believing in themselves. Because it's not always about the tragedy and, the lack of communication. There's other pieces on how to really rebuild or even grow your family dynamic. And one of the things that I really want to talk about today is uplifting your children when they're dealing with low self-esteem, when they're dealing with low confidence, when they don't believe in themselves, or they don't trust their ideas, they don't trust their thoughts, they don't like how they look. A lot of it is going off of what people have said to them. But if we can be honest, a lot of things is what they say to themselves when you're not around. The things that they say to themselves that pulls and puts themselves down, that really has decreased their their self-esteem and their confidence in themselves. So this quote goes like this, okay? It says, when your child says, I can't, use these words. So for instance, listen for negative self-talk from your child. So I'm going to break this down a little bit in this quote. It says, listen, I just did a registration-only private Zoom on how to communicate with your child. You missed it. It was absolutely great. And I'm not saying because I did it. The people that were on there said that they really enjoyed the information. And one thing I talked about, you have to be able to recognize when your child, everybody, is speaking negatively about themselves, not about you this particular time that we're talking about. Well, when they are talking about themselves, I've heard a lot of kids talk to themselves so low. I mean, there's some young men that I work with. I've heard them talk about themselves in such a low place. Even my son one time, he had said, I don't believe that I can. And I said, say it again. He said, what? I said, say what you just said again. He was like, I don't believe in myself. And I said, do you believe that? He says, no. I say, me and your father, your mom, your bonus mom, we don't never tell you not to believe in yourself. He looked at me. He had, I'm not trying to put him on blast, but he had a couple of tears because he was struggling with some classes. And I said, don't you ever say that again about yourself. He said, well, Dad, I'm sorry. I said, don't say sorry to me. Say sorry to yourself. I said, man, because we love you too much for you to talk about yourself like that, not around us. And I said, and more importantly, I don't even want you to talk about yourself to yourself when you by yourself. Does that make sense? It's about paying attention to this negative self-talk, right? But what the quote says, again, it says, listen for negative self-talk from your child. But what it says, close the distance. Look them in their eyes. And that's what I did with my son. I looked him in his eye and I told him, more than he's just a king, he knows that. But I said, I want you to start having confidence in yourself when nobody else is around. We're going to feed you that, just like we feed you food. He could eat, boy, I tell you. But I said, I think one thing you need to start eating is positivity. I said, one thing you need to start eating is see yourself in a better place. I said, one thing you got to start eating is success in yourself and seeing it for yourself. See, you got to be able to look your children in the eye and tell them, I believe in you. I don't care what you have said about yourself. I don't care what other people have said about you. We're going to change this narrative when it comes to you. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because when I say I'm serious about this, because if I could say this, I'm still in the lane. I'm still in the vein of coaching individuals, right? I coach individuals on self-esteem and confidence, right? But ever since I made this move, this pivot, I know we talk about pivot a lot, but I made a serious pivot. I made such a decision to go towards families. I said, I'm going to make my life's work, Frank, about families changing their family dynamic. And we got to look at our families. I know this is not even in my notes. We got to start looking at our families in a different light, with a different eye. Sometimes you got to sit your child down because really they get, they get so discouraged when they don't believe in themselves. And when you don't go behind that and tell them the opposite, that's when they start believing in what they said about themselves. They start to believe that's true. And we got to kill that. We got to destroy that thought, because that thought is going to keep coming up until somebody or something comes to destroy it, and it'll start to grow. And because it starts to grow, we got to be able to change that. So let me move on a little bit. This example says, repeat what they said, but this time add one quick word to show them you believe in them. Like I just gave you that example. Sometimes, and so I'm giving you some tips in the beginning of the show now, because you have to be able to look them in their eyes and give them a word that they can take for themselves. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You got to give them a word that's going to work for them. Empowerment. I'm just throwing a random word. Empowerment. You need empowerment. You need some information that's going to empower your mind. You need something to change your mindset. You need something that's going to change your heart. You need something that's going to get you to make some physical changes. What I mean, to walk into it, right? To walk into your new mindset, a new heart, a new perspective. Because these kids, they see social media. They deal with so many things on the outside of your home. They deal with things in their school. If you don't catch it, those things that they're working on or dealing with, excuse me, it's going to overtake them. And I know your family means too much to you. And why am I so passionate about this today? Because I have to be. I got to be passionate, not just about my child, but I got to be passionate about your child. And I'll get to the other ones at the end, but I wanted to give you those 4 examples of what you need to do, because negative self-talk in children, a lot of times, everyone, it comes from depression and anxiety. We don't want to admit that our children are dealing with something internally with like anxiety and depression, unhappiness, or even habits that they haven't talked to you about yet. That's a hard thing. I looked up a stat. It says 80% of our daily thoughts are negative. And this is for adults. So just imagine what your child is thinking in their head. I'm going to let that breathe for a moment. Do you understand what I'm saying? If 80% of our own daily thoughts are negative and that we're an adult, what about your 12, 13, 15, 17, 10-year-old, 8-year-old? What do you think they're thinking about? What do you think of what they're thinking about during the day? It's not always about school. It's about how they look, how tall they are, how short they are, how big they are, how skinny they are, all facets. But we have to be able to really take those words that they're saying and give them some hope. Because negative self-talk affects your mental, and not only does it affect your mental, it affects your physical. Because there might be some kids, you might have some kids right now, you might have some grandkids right now that they're so down mentally, they don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to play basketball anymore. They don't want to play football anymore. They don't want to eat with family. They don't want to even eat sometimes. I'm serious. I know that's crazy, right? But depression can get you down so much, you don't know what to do. And I'm not trying to be funny. Why do you think the suicide or the ideation, the thought of suicide is so high amongst teens? Not going to go too deep on that. But why? Because they're thinking about who they are and they don't like what they see. But it's up to us as parents and guardians and big brothers and big sisters and mentors to pour into our children, because our children are being lost. They're being lost. They're not a lost cause. They're being lost, though. They're not a lost cause. But we got to do something about it. We just can't sit back and just let things happen. So I'm gonna give you some more examples, then we're gonna go somewhere else and we're gonna end. And thank you guys so much. And I need you to share this as well. Some of the causes that I've paid attention to and that I researched. A lot of kids deal with many lonely times of isolation, failing grades. Again, like we said, low self-esteem, depression, relationships at school, and those relationships that follow them after school, when they're on TikTok and when they're on social media, when they're texting and FaceTiming, or the lack of, not feeling wanted, not feeling accepted. Kids go through a lot. You've heard your child say, I'm stupid. You've heard your child say, I can never do anything right. I'm always getting things wrong. I just can't pass this test. This is too hard. I can't make the team, or they're on the team. Man, I missed that ball. I let everybody down. And not only did I let them down, I let coach down, I let you down, mom and dad, and I let myself down. I will always be the problem child. No one understands me. Shoot, I don't even understand myself. And why did I title this, We Got to Remove the Poison from Their Mouths? Because what I just gave you as an example, everybody, that's poison. It's poison in their minds. It's poison in their thoughts. They have nothing else. It seems like they have nothing else to look forward to in their mindset. We got to remove the poison from their words, their thoughts. You know what we got to give them? I'm going to tell you what we got to give them. We got to give them some hope. There are kids right now that have no hope. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, Frank. They have no clue. They're tired. They're mentally drained. They're emotionally drained. Some of them, a lot of them are spiritually drained. We don't like to talk about that, but a lot of your kids are being filled up with so much that not only are their emotional state, their mental state is being attacked, but their spiritual state is being attacked. They don't know what to, oh my God. They don't even know what to believe in these days. Because it's more than just going to church. Now, don't get me wrong, Sunday is wonderful. It's wonderful, but it's not enough. Sundays are not enough. That's great. Take your child, please. But during the week, Monday through Saturday, what are they reading? What are they listening to? We got to be mindful of those things. We got to be aware of those things. Because if you're hearing all of this stuff on social media, if you're hearing all this negativity at school, if you're hearing all this through text messages and FaceTimes and trying to be this person, trying to be that person, and you still don't know who you are, and your spirit is bothered. Your spirit can't grow. Your spirit can't really mature. You don't know what your identity is. And I'm not talking about your sexual identity per se. I'm talking about their identity as a human being, a breathable human being. Seriously. They don't know which way, and they need us. They need us to show them the way. Morals, principles, rules to live by, to love to live by. So as they become adults, remember, your kids that are 12, 13, 14, you're not raising children. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. You're not raising children. You're raising young adults. You're raising young adults. I'm just giving you just what I feel that is going to help you. Because if I sugarcoat, it's not going to help you with your children. You're not raising kids. You're raising young adults into adulthood. Because in 5 years, they're going to be graduating from high school and they're going to be going to college. My son, he got 3 more years in high school after this year. My God, I had to think about that for myself. He's going to be in school, college. I have to do everything in my mind, heart, soul, spirit, being to encourage him, to push him, to bring up his self-esteem, not bring it down, to let him know that he can do anything, to never quit. And the reason why I'm talking like this, everybody, because this is the stuff some of you, and I'm going to get in trouble, but this is what I have to say. Some of you didn't get that, unfortunately. Some of you didn't get mom or dad to speak into your life like that. And that's a hard pill to swallow, mom and dad. That's a hard pill to swallow. You didn't get the love that you should have. But listen, you know what the greatest thing about this is that God gave you an opportunity to be a parent. He gave you an opportunity to be a parent. So whatever that you didn't get, whatever mom didn't say to you, whatever dad didn't say to you, whatever grandma didn't say to you, now you have an opportunity to give this to your child. You can give them a gift. It's better than Jordans. It's better than KDs. It's better than the gaming console. You know what you can give them? Love. Consistent love. Telling them that they can do it. Motivation. Empowerment. Some hugs. Some kisses. I'm serious. I don't care what your boys are. They love that. They love that love. My son, if I never hugged my son and pushed him around a little bit and joke with him, he'll think, well, Dad, what's wrong with you? What did I do? Or what's wrong with you? Because I give him what he needs. If I could talk about blended families just for a second, because I have a blended family. I'm raising somebody else's child that doesn't come from me. And you know what? I'm glad to do it. I don't want to get emotional, but my son he's a special young boy. He really is. He is. He get on my nerves, yes. But would I change anything for him? No. Nope. Even when me and my wife start having kids of our own, and people ask me, well, how many kids do you have? We can have 2, or we can have 1 with each other. But if they ask me, how many kids do you have, Frank, I'm going to tell them, I got 2 or 3 kids. Because he's always going to be my son. Why am I saying all this? And that's something that we're going to talk about later in another show, blended families. But I just feel a strong push to tell you, you got to speak into the lives of your children and grandchildren, your niece or nephew. Or even if you're a mentor, you got to speak into that young man. You got to speak into that young lady. Because that's what they need at this time. And I'm going to give you these 3 things really quick, and we're going to be done. And thank you for your time today. The first thing that we have to do to take the poison out, to overcome that negative self-talk that your children and your grandchild talk about, they got to be aware of what they say to themselves, like we stated already. Got to be aware. What are they saying to themselves? You got to ask them, from what you're saying to yourself, is that helping you? Is it helping you, or is it hindering you? The second thing is it something that you do often and you don't recognize? Because you got to recognize what you're saying to yourself is not helping you. So they got to be aware of what they're saying so that they can make those changes. Because when you speak negatively about yourself, that's a trend. That's a consistent negative trend. So you have to be able to break that. Number 2, they got to start focusing on the positive things in their life. Got to be able to focus on what is going right. Maybe it's 1 or 2 things. Maybe it's just 3 things. But help them look at what's positive. Let's take a little time going down memory lane. Everything is not bad. You're alive. You're able to walk. You're able to breathe on your own. There are kids at St. Jude's fighting for their life. There's kids in the jail system fighting for their lives. Serious. Help them to focus on what's good, what's going. You got parents. You got a grandmother, whoever they're staying with that loves them, that appreciates them, want to see them do well, doing all they can to support them. And the last one is, and this is a big one, that's why I made it at the last, teach them to be nice to themselves for a change. They got to learn how to be nice to them. They got to speak life into their own selves. A lot of kids just need to be taught how to do that. So when that negative thought comes, you have to combat that negative thought with a positive one. You gotta let them know. Take it easy on yourself. Stop being so harsh on yourself. Learn how to be nice to yourself. Spend some time writing down your small wins. Take a pen and paper out, put it on your phone. Tell them, let them know. Just if you start writing down the things that you're really good at, if you start writing down the things that this is a gift that you have, it's going to outweigh the word or words that you said about yourself that are negative. And if they don't have a hobby, help them find something that they're good at. Ask those questions. You got to ask them, what do you want to do? What is your interest? If it's drawing, if it's artistry, and I'm not just talking about, I'm not talking about just artists being a artist in music. I'm talking about artistry. If it's painting, sculpting, I'm serious, because us as a people, we have evolved. We don't just play basketball and football and baseball. We have a lot of scholars out here. We have a lot of young people that want to be doctors. We have a lot of young people that want to be surgeons. We have a lot of people, a lot of kids that want to do some amazing things. But we have to be their anchor. We got to push them. We got to mold them to be who they need to be. So I want to end here. And if you are somebody that you feel like you just need a push, your kid needs a push, and you're trying to do the best that you can, and it seems like it's not working, it's going to work. It's definitely going to work. But something that you got to do, you got to change their perspective. You got to change their mindset, because when you change their mind, you can start working on their heart. And then when you start working on their heart, you can start working on your hands to change. I believe in you. Let's grow your family. Listen, thank you so much for your time today. Please share this on all my social media platforms. Listen, if you need some help, don't hesitate. Don't think about it. I want you to reach out to me. You can reach me here at Fire 16. You can go to my social media pages. I have my information up. You can click the link and sign up for your 30-minute consultation call. Listen, all it takes, if you believe in your child and you want your child to succeed, you just feel that your child, your grandchild just need a little bit more help, all you got to do is click the link. Click my link. I'm here to help you. We're going to work together. We're going to rebuild your family dynamic. That son or daughter, that grandchild is going to be the best, because we're going to remove that poison from their mouths, and we're going to put great things for them to say about themselves until they start believing it. And once they believe it, I guarantee you things will change. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.
Here at Fire 716 Radio, we'd like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on our radio station are not necessarily those of the station itself, its employees, or its affiliates. We do not endorse any product or service discussed on our station. Furthermore, any advice, suggestions, or other information discussed on our station should not be considered professional advice and should not be followed without consulting a qualified professional. Thank you for listening, and have a great day. Here at Fire 716 Radio, we'd like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on our radio station are not necessarily those of the station itself, its employees, or its affiliates. We do not endorse any product or service discussed on our station. Furthermore, any advice, suggestions, or other information discussed on our station should not be considered professional advice and should not be followed.